What's up, good people? What's going on? Make sure I get you guys here. Okay, I got you. All right, good people. Let me give some shout outs to good people here. What's up, Joanna? Shonda, Catherine, how are you? Crystal, um, Amber. Amber, how's it going? Um, I think we were earlier today. I was doing an interview, Amber, with and you guys are gonna see this too. Alicia, um, I just forgot Alicia that last name. Alicia is sorry. Um, yeah, she's gonna kill me. I got so many days swirling in my head. Anyway, Alicia is running. Alicia Andrews, sorry. Alicia, don't kill me. Anyway, Amber, we were talking about Western Oklahoma. I know you stay out in that area. We were talking about. I think she's running. So you guys got to hear this interview that I did with Alicia Andrews. We spoke in reference to uh, she's running for state chair, and we spoke in reference to dealing with people out there in Western Oklahoma. So look for that interview. I'll probably have it up tomorrow so you guys can see it. I think it's really good. So yeah. So what's up, good people? I'm glad you guys joined. Happy Black History Month. Y'all like my new mug? It's Black Panther. Shout out to the anonymous person who wants to remain anonymous, who blessed me with this mug. But isn't this a tight mug? This is nice, right? It's all Black Panther. It says Wakanda forever, right? Anyway, you guys didn't come on here to hear me talk about a Black Panther mug or anything. You wanted to hear some commentary. You want to hear some news. Well, let's get into it. Do me a favor, share this video. If this is your first time, I am Marq Lewis. And if you're not following me on Twitter, you have to follow me on Twitter. I know this is a Facebook platform right now, but I want you guys to follow me on Twitter because I can get away with a little bit more on Twitter than on Facebook. It may buffer a little bit, but we're working on that thing. So just bear with me, stay with me. But anyway, follow me on Twitter. It's definitely important. And also, real quick, let's get some logistics out the way. So if you have not gone to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and like and subscribe, please, because we will start uploading tons of videos there. Okay, do me a favor, share this video. It is really important. Yes, it is going to be choppy just a second. It will smooth out. However, it does. It just smooths out. I don't know exactly what it does. It just smooths out. And trust me, I've been on the phone with Cox, so I know this is kind of frustrating. It's really frustrating with me, but it will smooth out. I've noticed that's the past. So please give it a little bit more patience. And I'm really working on trying to make sure this internet is stable because this is an issue. I don't like this right here. I don't like when it lags like this. But anyway, thanks again for joining. Do me a favor, share this video, please. This video is going to be refreshing and blessing to other people. So let's get into this question here. This question I posed here was, why is Tulsa County protecting an employee with Klan ties? So a little background information. We understand that there was an employee who works for the court clerk's office, and they have had some ties to the Klan. Let me bring this on the screen here. And this is Reed Frontier. So they've had some ties to the Klan. So therefore, and this is a picture here, her name is Bonnie. Yeah, her name is Bonnie. And so therefore, Bonnie has had these ties to the Klan and all those different things. But what we're going to do is, I just wanted to pose this particular question, okay? Since this story broke a couple of days ago, actually the blog post posted this about a week ago, okay? And we're just kind of catching up with the story. This lady, her name is Bonnie, and she has Klan ties. This is not alleged. We have video that she travels. Since the press release went out earlier this week, we have now information in reference to Bonnie being a part of we understand that she was not she's not a member of the Klan, but she is singer of the Klan. This is what her husband came out and said. Her husband came out and said that she is a singer, and this is what they do. They are not a card-carrying member. This is what was said. But again, that's still debatable. I don't care. I don't care if you're a card-carrying member or you're just affiliated with it. Association brings assimilation. Association brings assimilation. And if you associate yourself around people who have ties to hate groups and terrorist groups, I call them terrorist groups in my definition. If you have these type of ties, then I think something is really seriously going on and questioning. So let's get into the meat of this. We see here within this article here, we see that since this has gone out, the county commissioner, Karen Keefe, basically said, well, let me not go to Karen Keefe. Let me go to Don Newberry. Don Newberry, he is over the court clerk's office. Don Newberry is over the court clerk's office. Yes, that is a tongue twister. So sorry if I kind of messed that up. It's the court clerk's office. All right. So he's over that, and he made a statement, and the statement that he made was simply this. This is a statement that he made, and I want to read it to you because I think this is very important that we get information from our elected officials since this news has come out. This is what he said, and I will highlight here. He said, I do not in any way condone or believe that discrimination based on race, sex, or religion or sex has any place within the workplace. This is what he said. He said, at the same time, I and all that work in this office have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, part of which is the protection of freedom of speech. If at any time I find that someone is not performing their duties to uphold the Constitution, the situation would be dealt with accordingly to that offense. That's what he said. This is basically her boss, okay? So the county commissioner, Karen Keefe, the county commissioner is pretty much she's one of three who governs over the county and affairs. Karen Keefe came out and she said the county lawyers had indicated to her that it would be not possible to fire Kukla, based on her it's not alleged, it is true, based on her alleged KKK membership. She said, our hands are tied. There is not much Tulsa County can do. Now, I want to urge to you guys, I want to talk about something. And while we're talking about this, I want to talk about this because I think it's very fitting. Let me bring this back on the screen. I think this is very fitting to talk about this, and just bear with me for a second because I think this is very important. Now, this is the civil division. We understand that Bonnie is working in the civil division. And this is what the civil division handles. They handles partitions. Let me just highlight it here. They handle partitions, injunctions, state foreclosures and seizures, dissolution of partnership, libel, slander, trust, friendly suits, medical malpractice, auto negligence, name changes, condemnation, foreclosures, madams and driver's license suspension appeals, surface damage boards. This is what they cover within their civil division. We understand that Bonnie works in the civil division of the court clerk's department. Now, this is the thing I want to read to you. Now, Bonnie says that she does not have any form of, she's not working with the Ku Klux Klan. However, she has ties to them. It's not alleged, she has ties. So I wanted to read something to you guys so you guys can kind of listen to this, because I think this is also fitting too. Did you know that the KKK is not a terrorist organization? It is not listed as a terrorist organization. What it is listed as from the FBI is a hate group. Can you believe that? The Klan that has terrorized African Americans, and there is a known history of violence that they have perpetrated. They are not on the terrorist group. Now, I want to urge you. You know that the Klan has killed more African Americans, Jews, people who did not agree with their philosophy. The Klan has done this. Now, This is what I want you guys let me bring this back on the stand, because I want you guys to see where I'm going with this. All right. So Bonnie, let me just split the screen here because I think it's important. So, well, it's not going to work. So Bonnie works in the the civil division. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like for you to think about this, okay? And someone brought this to my attention as something that I did not think about. Just because she sings and she dances, but that is not what we should be concerned about. The Klan has used the religious freedom practice since their inception, since 1921. They have said we're religious freedom. They have done all these people, they have hung people under religious freedom. If you notice the key word that Mr. Newberry was using, and also Karen Keefe, Mr. Newberry was using is they have to protect her constitutional right of religious freedom. I have a problem, okay? Because I question, has the Tulsa County Court Clerk's office have been infiltrated by the KKK? So before you guys sit back and say to yourself, oh, Mark, that is falsehood and this and that, this is just my opinion and this is just my thought, because someone brought this to my attention and I want to just pose it to you guys. She has access to records. She has access to information. She has access to all of these things that we as general public do not have access to. I want you to think about this. She has accessibility to records. She has accessibility to court cases. She has accessibility to transcripts. She has accessibility to all these different things. And I've read, and you see here, injunctions, state foreclosures. She has probably names, addresses, any information that she has that we as citizens probably do not have. There are documents that are probably noted to be sealed documents. Bonnie could have access to those documents. So here's my question. And while we are pondering these things, since people are wanting to protect this situation, I'm questioning, has our court clerk's office been infiltrated by the Klan? How do we know that the Klan has not used Bonnie to get sensitive information? How do we know? We do not know that. Somebody will sit back and say to me, oh, Mark, that's not true. We don't know, whatever the case may be. But I beg to differ. And I beg to differ, and I'm going to tell you why I beg to differ, because simply this. We know that the Klan themselves has used information, and that information has been used to possibly get people off, as far as injunctions, as far as maybe there's some type of custody issues going on. I'm not saying that this is happening. I'm just pondering the thought. Could this be an issue where the Klan has infiltrated our court system? Mr. Newberry and Karen Keefe would probably say to themselves, no, we wouldn't see that. But how do you know? Because really from last week, you didn't know that she actually was what? You didn't know that she actually was what? A member or a traveling evangelist, singer. We didn't know, right? So if you didn't know, she's gone under the radar. Now I want to ask you guys a question here. Let's just say that she travels and sings for a group named ISIS. Okay? You know, the terrorist group that we're talking about, or what about the Taliban? I guarantee you the government will say this has no place and we don't want any ties here. But because somehow she has worked We see video that she is singing in front of the Klan, the Knights Temple. We see video of this. And we see that she travels. You see her car. You've seen all those different things. And we have to ask ourselves this question. Is our information safe inside the court system? Surely Tulsa County would not allow one person to infiltrate their court system and allow sensitive documentation to just go out the way. Would they? Tulsa County wouldn't know that. Because remember, Tulsa County at that particular time had no knowledge that she had these ties to the Klan. Now we have Mr. Newberry saying that we want to protect the constitutional rights because it's religious freedom. We have Karen Keefe, which is the county commissioner, saying that our hands are tied. But I ask you as concerned citizens, do you now feel safe? Do you now feel safe knowing that a person who has ties to the KKK is working in the court system? The person who has ties are working with the courts, are looking at sensitive documentation, are looking at custody issues, are looking at credit card information. We have evidence that people have infiltrated and have taken sensitive information towards, and they've given it away to bad guys. How do we know? We don't. So if anybody sits down and say this to you, oh, we can assure that the safety is taken care of. How do you know? You don't know. So not only we're saying, and not only they're protecting the religious freedom. Let me read a post that I had that this person actually openly posts to you. And I'm not going to post it on the screen, but I'm going to read it to you. This is what she said. This lady said she would not issue my marriage license. It was the same-sex marriage license, something against her Christian values, which was verbally stated to us, which is fine. I get it. Not everyone agrees with that. And flat out told us she wasn't touching it. Luckily, another nice lady helped us out while glaring at the person the entire time. At that time, which was 2015, the county stated that they're back up their employees' religious views. See, the county said the same thing that they're saying to us right now, that they will back up a person's religious views. She goes on to say, my thing is though, why work in a field where you deal with different kinds of people if your racist ties with the damn KKK? There's no telling how many people she has messed over just because the color of their skin or something else. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you guys or people may sit back and say to other folks that may say, I'm okay with this or I'm not okay with this. But I'm letting you know this. I'm not okay with it. And I don't want you to be comfortable with it. So I have questions for the county. Are you okay with a person who has alleged ties looking over sensitive documentation? We know what the Klan is about. We do not need to sit back and to shuck and jive and to play games and to hide behind the cloak of religious freedom. We know that this is a hateful, terrorist, extreme group. That's my words as far as hateful as far as terrorist is concerned, because they have terrorized churches. They have bombed churches. Ladies and gentlemen, they have bombed churches. They have bombed houses. They have hung people from a tree. They're the only group who can walk down the streets of America with masks on their face, holding guns out and weapons in sight religious protection. We already know that the Klan has infiltrated the court systems, not just in Tulsa County, but all over the country. We already know that they are judges. We already know that they have seriously infiltrated the police departments. So why in the hell would we not think that they would not use someone who says, well, we don't have a card, but you are greatly out there singing and dancing for the Lord, who people practice hate based on a person's color of their skin, their religion affiliation. Is our documentation safe? That's all I want to know. They can say to us, yeah, it's safe. How do we know? Do we need an audit? Do we need to audit? How do we know? She was in the juvenile division, and if she was in the juvenile division, what does that mean? All of these custody situations, all of these kids' information, how do we know? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this to you is because if our government officials are going to protect our positions, how can they ensure that Bonnie is not taking sensitive information to hate groups? How do we know? How do we know? We don't know. We don't know. So if anybody tomorrow turns around and says that's not true, how do you know? Because you have no checks and balances in place to ensure that this lady could not have done that. Because remember, a week ago, you didn't even know it. Here's my suggestion, what I would say for Tulsa County real quick. They can handle this problem. How can they handle this problem? If you feel like you don't want to fire her, I don't agree with it, but if you feel like you don't want to fire her, move her. She works for Tulsa County. There are so many divisions within Tulsa County that you can move her so she will not be and have access to sensitive documentation. That simple. But see what happens? The protection. We have to protect the religious freedom. But you give her access to all of this information. Let me go to some of your comments right quick, because I don't want you guys to comment and I didn't address it. Glenn, you said 2012, Jacob C. England and Alvin Watts were convicted of murdering 3 black people and shooting 2 other people. Absolutely. That's called the Good Friday shootings. Ali, you said, I don't want to hear anything about we are one in the city of government supporting this woman. I agree with you, Ali. It turns my stomach to understand that this is happening. I agree with you, Sarah. All these educators, they have infiltrated. They have infiltrated our government system. And then what we see is that they hide around the cloak of religious freedom. So let me segue to another point of this, okay? Here's another point, and I want you to watch this story. And I'm going to tell you why I'm so serious about all of this, okay? I am so serious about all of this because this stuff is real. It is not just about racism. It's deeper than just racism. It is about your sensitive documentation. And please, ladies and gentlemen, please do not think that our stuff is secured. We are on Facebook right now, and we have seen breaches. You have seen breaches from Google. You have seen breaches from all of these different people. What we thought our information is safe. Now we have a person that is known, has known ties to the KKK, and they are protecting her by religious practices. They couldn't move her to the Parks Division or whoever answering phones. Hello. I would like them to fire her, but they can easily fix the situation for the security and public trust and public security. Public security. It's very important. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you to another story that did not, I repeat, did not get any national news, until later on. Let me take you to this story. Watch this story, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Violent crimes you could think of, the kind of gang violence you associate with the most notorious groups in the county. But there are Kansans, and tonight they face a series of charges. Our David Lippman has the story.
And Craig, 54 members of the New Aryan Empire have been indicted, some for selling drugs, some for widespread violent conspiracies. All of the prosecutors say pose a serious threat to the Arkansas River Valley.
Before I took office, I took some advice from the elected who had been there over 20 years, and I asked him the number one problem that he saw going forward, and it was this group.
The new Aryan Empire was the focus of an indictment that was unsealed Tuesday, the result of more than 2 years of investigations.
Sorry, guys, my computer just shut down. But anyway,
reprehensible.
Here we go.
It's admiration
Keep
for
going.
Nazi imagery and racist views, but even more alarming are the crimes and violence perpetrated by these defendants.
Prosecutors say the gang sold meth around.
So let me tell you what happened. I apologize. This went down. Let me tell you what happened. 54 white supremacists were arrested. 54. Not 1, not 2, not 10, not 13, but 54. 54 white supremacists were arrested in Arkansas. This is in Arkansas. This is white supremacists. People are part of the Aryan Nation Brotherhood. These people were arrested by a federal indictment and charges extending from, let me just go here, charges extending from, bring it back on the screen here, murder, acts of violence, including attempted murder, kidnapping, and mangling. Ladies and gentlemen, this is white supremacists. And they have gone after and they have arrested 54 members. 54. I'm bringing it on the screen here. 54 members here. The case started 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2016. And it involved members of the New Aryan Empire, a white supremacist group that began as a prison gang. Okay? Now, let's go back to this because this is I'm going to read this to you because this is certainly good. Back on August 3rd, 2017, a grand jury handed down indictments charging 44 people in Polk County area with several drug and gun violations. Since the defendant, Daniel Adams, 32 years old, has pled guilty to conspiracy to distribute meth, 11 additional defendants were named during the investigation involving attempted murder, kidnapping, and mainly charges. All right. Why is that so important? This is so important simply because of this. Because everything that I just talked to you guys about is real. Everything I just said to you is real. It's not a joke. It's not fake. It is real. But here we go. Here we go. The government, what does the government need to do? Do we need to protect this? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the video again. For those who didn't see it, I know it did cut off, so I apologize for that. Let me play the video again from the beginning because I want you guys to see this video and how important these topics are when we're talking about the infiltration and how dangerous these groups are if you allow them to just get away, if you allow them to just hide behind the cloak of freedom of speech. All right, let me play this video again. Here we go.
With the most notorious groups in the county. But there are cases, and tonight they face a series of charges. Our David Lippman has the story.
Craig, 54 members of the New Aryan Empire have been indicted, some for selling drugs, some for widespread violent conspiracies. All of the prosecutors say pose a serious threat to the Arkansas River Valley.
Before I took office, I took some advice from the elected who had been there over 20 years, and I asked him the number one problem that he saw going forward, and it was this group.
The New Aryan Empire was the focus of an indictment that was unsealed Tuesday, the result of more than 2 years of investigations.
The NAE is reprehensible in its admiration for Nazi imagery and racist views, but even more alarming are the crimes and violence perpetrated by these defendants.
Prosecutors say the gang sold meth around Arkansas and did anything, including attempted murder, to protect its business.
In one particularly chilling allegation, a suspected informant's face was severely burned with a heated knife, causing permanent disfigurement.
The U.S. Attorney for Arkansas's Eastern District said RICO cases like this are complex to put together, would have the benefit of tougher punishments.
You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. And that is a significant tool that we can use in order to combat criminal organizations, whether that is a violent crime organization, whether that is white collar or public corruption.
17 of the suspected gang members face life in prison, including the group's president. Thousands of other
other members are still free. Those involved with the case were more than pleased with this result.
This is a monumental task to get to this day, but it has to be done because these people perpetuate violence and push poison into our communities.
Officers are still tracking down 4 of the 54 people who were indicted. Prosecutors say they seized hundreds of guns and around 200 pounds of meth from the 50 they have arrested.
All right, David, thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is self-explanatory. This happened right beside Oklahoma. It's tragic, and we're going to start seeing more and more counts of this because what has happened is that the federal government has turned their back against all of this white supremacist hate gang groups. Let's go into another heartfelt story here. A year ago, Parkland. They opened fire. I'm going to play this little video here that you guys could kind of give more memorial to, and we can talk about the Parkland shooting and how the effects of the Parkland and what people have done since the Parkland shooting. All right, let me play this video for you.
Since this movement began, people have asked me, do you think any change is going to come from this? Look around. We are the change.
It was a massacre happening so fast it couldn't be stopped.
I believe that we should ban the private ownership and possession of handguns.
All Australians tonight share the horror of the Port Arthur massacre.
One year later, a gunman went inside a high school, shot and killed a ton of kids. Now, you would think that we would have some form of gun legislation since then on the table from the federal sector. The only thing that has happened has been bump stocks, and that's been signed into law by Donald Trump, and that was impressive. You know, bump stocks, he had banned bump stocks, and a lot of people were upset about it. But we really don't have right now any form of gun legislation on the table that is banning assault rifles. And I know this debate has been long fought debate in reference to who deserves guns, who shouldn't have guns, and all those different things. And that's what we have. We also have the new governor coming into Oklahoma. Constitutional carry is about to become law. He has said that he will sign it if it passed. The Senate passed it yesterday. I'm pretty sure the House will pass it, and he will sign it into law. Constitutional carry basically means is that you have a constitutional right to carry guns legally if you have a clean record. So, which means that anybody can go out here and just go buy a gun and just put it on your hip and just carry it and have it around you. It seems as if that the solution in America is more guns save lives. That's what they feel. More guns, more guns, more guns. Now, I'm a proponent of gun control. I'm not a proponent of getting rid of your guns. I'm a proponent of gun control. I do not believe people who have mental illness or people, children, or, felons or whoever should have guns. But what we're seeing is that a lot of people who have domestic violence issues are using guns as a tool to kill and injure people. So I really believe that we need to really look at some form of legislation to really talk in reference to serious gun control. Serious gun control. Sophie, you said, so when these young gangs, let me just read this here. So when these young gang bangers get gang affiliate charges, $50,000 bond isn't double standard, it's a group. I agree with you that whole gang labeling and all those different things, that definitely needs to change, because that's a label that they get on them with the bond and also with additional charges. Because I believe that you can get excess just by being a part of a gang. You can get excess of 10 to 15 more years just by being a part of a gang. You're absolutely right, Glenn, in reference to this. Okay. So that's Parkland, and we're celebrating. Today was the 1-year anniversary of the Parkland shooting. 1 year today. We were mourning, like the rest of the people all over the country, about this particular shooting. All right, let me go on to another topic right here. R. Kelly. R. Kelly looks as if he is in the hot seat. That's right. Robert Kelly is under investigation again. Let's go ahead and bring this on the screen. Robert Kelly is under investigation. Apparently, there is a new video that has surfaced in reference to R. Kelly having or giving some form of sexual relations to a 14-year-old. This is not a video that apparently we have not seen. We have not seen this video. This is a brand new video. Michael Avenatti has said that he has a client that is a whistleblower of R. Kelly, and R. Kelly is basically there is this video that's out there, and so what he is saying is that the authorities are looking at trying to get foul charges or look at the validity of this video. It sounds as if that R. Kelly knew that this young lady was 14 years old. So that's a whole nother issue. This is not the video that all y'all watch, but this is the video, apparently a new video. It's VHS, so we're talking a very old video if it's on VHS. R. Kelly is a sick perv that has infiltrated our community, and he technically needs to be put down and needs to have charges brought to him. He's a terrorist. He's terrorizing young girls, and I don't agree with that. Yes, he does have great music. He has made great music, but I have a problem when our young girls are not safe. I have a serious problem when that happens. Shonda, you said, why on earth does R. Kelly keep these damn videos? I couldn't tell you. This is R. Kelly, and this is his sinister ways and what he wants to do. I don't know why he does this, but somehow, if this video turns out to be true, a new video, and he has had sexual relationships with this 14-year-old girl, R. Kelly possibly will go to prison for this. This is something that I have no remorse on R. Kelly. I don't want people to say to me, well, he makes great music. I can give a damn if he makes great music. Are our young girls safe around people like R. Kelly? Okay? Are our young girls safe around that? And that's something that we have to look at. And a lot of people have said to me, well, Mark, can we separate the man from the music? Well, the man is still in the music. Okay? We get it. If we contribute to purchase his music, buying his stuff, all those different things, we're still contributing to his empire. We're still contributing for him not just making great music, but him to be able to pay off all of these other people so that they will not file charges on him. Unfortunately, the reason R. Kelly is free to this day is because R. Kelly has money. R. Kelly has been able to pay people off. Why? Because he has power and influence, and he's paid off parents. As a matter of fact, he has paid off so many people, and he's probably going to go broke paying off people. But this is something that R. Kelly does, and this is something that constantly keeps happening. And honestly, I am sick and tired of it. I wish R. Kelly would just go away. I really do, because you know what? I believe that he has a problem. He has a problem that he's not trying to get help for. He has a problem that he wants to have your sympathy towards it and act as if, no, I'm fine, nothing's wrong. But, he's gotten away. But there used to be an old saying that someone said to me, just because you've gotten away doesn't mean you're going to get by. Right? Just because you've gotten away. And I think this is very telling, and it's sick to me. This is very sick. This is very sick. I will, Sophie. I definitely will. You gonna have my back, Miss Armstrong? All right, guys. Let me go into another subject here, and this is my final commentary of the night. Trust me, it's my final commentary tonight, and I will let you go. And it is. This is it. This is it right here. The trauma behind racism. I want to talk about that just a little bit, and I'm going to let you guys go. The trauma behind racism. The trauma behind racism. I want to dive into this situation is because we here in America, we like to have a ton of records. We like to have a ton of things. We like to have a ton of stuff in reference to, we can say, that has been traumatic experiences. Whether it has been from a bad, dangerous situation that you have gone through or someone else that you know of have gone through, whether it has been something else. There is trauma when you have dealt with something that you yourself should not have dealt with, right? The trauma behind racism, to me, this is just my opinion, needs to be looked at. It needs to be looked at seriously. We don't need to joke around with it. We don't need to make light of this. We don't need to sit back and say it does not exist. It does exist. Traumatic experiences exist. If a person has gone through a lot of trauma in their life, typically they would go to a psychiatrist, and a psychiatrist would diagnose them as having some form of, I'm just going to say in this particular situation, as a post-traumatic stress disorder, because of the trauma that they've gone through. Now, I urge people of non-African American or minority descent to listen to me very carefully. There are traumatic experiences that people of color have gone through, and they are still going through every day. What we have seen is a picking of a scab, right? So there's the enslavement. And even though people will say to us, that's been several hundred years ago, right? That's been several hundred years ago. You're not affected by that. But keep in mind, we have ancestors that have been affected by that within our community. And what has happened is that our ancestors has talked to their children about the enslavements, about the Jim Crow. So you had enslavement, then you had Jim Crow, then you had the enslavement, you had Reconstruction, and then you had Jim Crow. And believe it or not, you guys will not believe this. African Americans has only been free for 55 years. You won't believe that. You would probably sit back and say to me, "Oh, that's not true, Mark." It is true. Do your research. African Americans only been free on paper for 55 years. The trauma of 400 plus years through the lineage of our ancestors, through the current cycle of dealing with the continual form of racism, prejudice, extreme biases, seeing people of color get gunned down in the street every day, being tossed up for a job because of the color of your skin, as a black woman told that you're angry, as a black man told that you are too brute or you're too strong, to changing up the atmosphere based on how we communicate to other people who don't look like us. Being on a heightened sense of alert when we try to take a vacation, when we really can't take a vacation because we may get the cops called on us. You can't even go to your local store because they may turn around and think you're going to steal something. Do you understand this trauma that a person of color that looks like me have to endure every day? Every day. And it's traumatic. And I'm not saying this so you can have pity. I'm saying this for you to understand that people in this country who look like me, a little bit lighter, go through traumatic experiences. If you do yourself a favor, talk to an African American. Ask them how they feel. Tell them to be real with you. It will go something like this. I'm tired. I'm upset. I want to scream. I want to cry. I want to go out there and I want to do all those things. I want to punch. I want to fight. I want to do all that because I have all this anger that's built inside of me. And then we are to take that anger and go out in the world and to put on our mask. Our mask of love. Our mask of forgiveness. Our mask of sincerity. We have to put on our mask. And what ends up happening is that while we keep putting on our mask, we are hurting inside. Nobody hears us. So then we turn around and we depend on people that's supposed to be our allies to support us. They turn their back on us. Then we depend on other people, our government officials, to turn around to support us. They turn our back on us. Then we go home. We get pulled over by a police officer. And we're called out our name. Not sir or ma'am. It's boy or what you're doing. Automatic the perception of you're doing something negative. And all I'm trying to do, officer, is to go home. I just want to go home every day to my kids or to my family. I want to go home. I want to live just like you live. I want to enjoy life just like you want to enjoy life. I'm not a monster. I'm not a perpetrator. I'm not a gangster. I'm not this. I'm human. But you can't see my human nature because you have your racism blinders on. I'm saying this because there is trauma that people of color are dealing with every day. My hope is that some psychiatrists will recognize this and that they will put this in the DSM handbook to understand that racism will lead to, continual form of racism will lead to post-traumatic stress disorders, and that will allow a person to not even function normally within the world today. Do not dismiss the account of what the pressures of racism will do. Do not ever dismiss that, because this face is what we want to show you. But if you go behind closed doors, you will see a different face. You may not see the strength. You may see the weakness. You may not see the smile. You may see the anger. You may not see the togetherness. You may see the falling of apart. You may see the fact that I'm dealing with the same thing that you were dealing with, but you can hide. I can't. So sometimes we explode. We explode in other things to try to deal with those things. Certain things that we deal with and just the pressures of life, we become smokers, drug addicts, something to take the pain away. You do the same thing. We do the same thing because we're human. But somehow we're taught that we are not deserve the same treatment. This is Black History Month. We have had to deal with a history of black faces, a history of Klansmen, a history of that right in our face. We can't even enjoy this month. We can't enjoy the accomplishments because what we see is people who we thought that's supposed to have our back are supposed to have the understanding. Now we have to go back and educate you on something that you should have known already. Do you see the reoccurrence of trauma? The tiredness that we have. So then you turn around and say, you're angry. Damn right I'm angry. You're upset. Damn right I'm upset. Why wouldn't I be upset? Because I have to go home and face a child that looks like me. I have to go home and face someone who looks like me and tell them don't give up. But what ends up happening if I tell them to go out there, fight, do what you got to do? Now you're looking at them as if they're a person who is a stereotype. So then we don't want to be that. I just appeal to your intelligence to let you know that there is trauma behind racism, behind prejudice. So please don't just assume that you see an African American person and they're smiling. Don't just assume that they're always happy with you. Just know that that's the face that they have to put on to hide the hurt and the anger that they have to deal with every day. That's my time. God bless. I will see you guys Tuesday next week. Take care of yourself. And if you want to, please contribute to the show. Become a patron. I need your support. I'm not funded by anybody but you. This is what I do for the sake of you. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Good night.